Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy SurgicalSnipes, and I am back at it again with another Diablo Immortal video. Alright, today we're going to be learning about the most highest DPS damage builds for open world farming, PVE, for the Demon Hunter class. Alright, this build is for Demon Hunters who want to increase the speed of their attacks against all the monsters here in Sanctuary, and while minimizing by minimizing the time that it takes to take them out, to kill them. So this is gonna be that build. So this is gonna be the video for those kind of builds. So let's get right into it. Starting with the builds that I have currently equipped. The build that I have currently equipped. Let's start. So first of all, we're gonna break it down, section by section. That way, you will all have a good general understanding of what in my opinion, the best build is for open world farming, for PVE, and also a good secondary and maybe even a third option builds, until you're able to get the best build possible. So let's start with the best one possible, in my opinion, which I have currently equipped. Let's start with the set items first, okay? First off, before I even go on with this, I checked out my other video, my guide on most damage ultimate guide on PvP, right? And I think my microphone was way too loud on that, so I apologize if that was too loud. Just lower your volume a little bit if that was too loud in that last video. Alright. But anyways, hopefully my voice isn't too loud now. Hopefully y'all can hear me right. Anyways, let's get back into it. So, first things first, let's start with the set items. Set items is going to be, you're going to want to go with 4-piece Vithus Urges, and 2 pieces of War Rags of Shalbass. Okay, so the Vithus Urges, okay, 2 out of 4 pieces will get you an increased duration for all your beneficial effects on you or your party members up to by 30%. So that works on your Vengeance, that works on your Smokescreen. Okay, so that just helps making it last longer for an extra 30% for you or your party members, which is a great thing. When you get 4 out of 6 pieces, I'm sorry, when you get 4 pieces of Vithus, you're gonna get an increased attack speed by 30% for 3 seconds each time you use a skill. Not just once, but each time you use a skill that grants a beneficial effect to yourself or a party member. So we're talking about Vengeance, we're talking about Smokescreen, right? Those 2 skills are buffs that Vithus Urges will proc Vithus Urges and you'll be able to get these set properties. So 4 Vithus Urges pieces is what you need in order to get these set properties. The next part of the set items, in the set items, you're gonna want to get 2 War Rags of Shalbass. Okay, what happens when you get 2 War Rags of Shalbass set items? You're gonna get a primary attack damage increase by 15%. So you can get a 15% primary attack damage increase, which is huge to your damage dealing, right? The main thing for a Demon Hunter is to always be able to use his primary attack and primary attack damage is definitely a must. So that's it for the set items, you know. It's going to take a while to get them if you don't have them already. I recommend looking at the locations of the set items, where to get the 4 Vitus Urges pieces, and where to get the 2 War Rags of Shalbas set item pieces. Okay, but that's the best of the best as far as set items are concerned for Demon Hunters. Now let's go on to the legendary items. We have 6 legendary items. 6 legendary item slots that we can equip gear with, and for PVE, for open world farming, I believe this is the best, in my opinion, open world farming build. So where do we start? Let's start with the helm. You're first gonna want to go with Boundless Ingenuity. What does that do? Boundless Ingenuity gives you an extra charge on your daring swing. So without this, you know, you're only gonna get 2 daring swing charges. With this, you're gonna get 3 daring swing charges. Why do you need 3 daring swing charges in PVE, in open world farming? You need this because, especially if you're running solo, when you run 3 daring swings instead of 2, by using that extra swing, you can it'll have the most movement that you're gonna get, as far as being able to move around the map as fast as possible. This helps out a lot when you're doing your bounties. Let's say you're solo farming, doing your bounties, you see another player, you're both in the same area, going for the same monsters. If you use that extra daring swing, that could help you beat him in the race to getting the kills for the monsters. So definitely an extra daring swing would help out in that situation. And definitely an extra daring swing definitely doesn't hurt, because you can always use it as to escape. Let's say you get stuck in a crowd of enemies, in a crowd of monsters, and you can't move out of the way. 3 daring swing escapes will definitely get you out of the way and back into safety. So I definitely recommend running 3 daring swings by equipping the Boundless Ingenuity helm. Okay, next off is going to be the Heart of Vengeance chest plate. Heart of Vengeance, what Heart of Vengeance does, it decreases the Vengeance cooldown by 15%. And if you want to awaken the chest plate, you can also get an increased 10% cooldown, for a total of 25% Vengeance cooldown decrease. So very important. I wouldn't recommend any other chest plates besides that, but there are others which I will recommend I guess later on in this video. But first, let's talk about the best of the best items in my opinion. So we covered the helm, we covered the chest plate. Let's cover the shoulders now. I'm gonna go with Hellfire. Hellfire for the shoulders, just because it gives you that extra the extra missiles of the multi-shot. It gives you 2 additional homing rockets, each dealing almost 1.3k damage. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, say, wait a minute, why don't you use Koff's? Of course, Koff's Unrelenting Fury is the go-to choice also, but because I'm running the smokescreen build with the 4-piece Vitus and War Rags of Shalbas, that's why I'm not using the Hellstone Shoulders. But we'll get to those later on. But this is how I feel. This is what I think is the best of the best when you have all your set items that you need. Definitely end game stuff. So I'm going with the Hellfire, just to have extra rockets flying. and they're homing rockets, so they're gonna lock on monsters. So Hellfire for the shoulders. I'm sorry, I fucked up. It's not. We do have cops equipped. Cops is just for the pants. I'm tripping. I was talking about the Hailstone shoulders. That's the one everybody was using. Everybody also uses Hailstone shoulders, right? Hailstone shoulders in their PVE builds. But I'm not running Rain of Vengeance, and that's why I'm not using it in this build particularly. But we will get to the Rain of Vengeance build after this one. Anyways, let's go with the pants. Yeah, so this is Cops Unrelenting Fury. This is the best pants you want to have when you're open world farming. This gives you the most DPS. Why? Because during Vengeance, every 2 primary attacks will cause you to launch 1 additional rocket that deal 1.6k damage to a nearby target. So every 2 primary attacks, 1 additional rocket. So we got 1 rocket from every 2 primary attacks, plus the Hellfire shoulders from multi-shot, shooting 2 additional rockets. So that definitely helps with the DPS in open world farming. So you can definitely take out a lot of monsters with all this extra rockets flying out. Okay, now this one here is subjectives for the main hand. I'm going with Ember Mist. A lot of people would disagree, and they would go with Flame Spite, maybe even Breath of Winter. Maybe not Breath of Winter, because you really don't need that much CC in open world farming. Maybe in challenge rifts and PvP in the battlegrounds, but for open world farming, you're gonna be strong enough to kill the monsters anyway, as long as you're in your recommended hell difficulty. So I'm not too worried about the CC in open world farming. I'm worried about just killing as many monsters as I can and farming them as fast as possible for the experience and for the scrap and all that. So when it comes to speed of open world farming, I believe the Ember Mist is the fastest, is part of that fast build, as part of that fastest DPS build. Because Ember Mist, what does it do? It decreases the smokescreen cooldown by 15%. So that's a very big thing, because that by decreasing the cooldown of your smokescreen, you'll be able to activate it faster to be able to proc the Vithus urges and get that 30% attack speed that you need to keep on going as fast as possible in your damage dealing to the monsters. So that's why I pick Ember Mist for the cooldown of the smoke screen. All right. Last but definitely not least, we got the Hungerer. The Hunger is the go-to offhand weapon for all demon hunters. There's no other offhand weapon that's gonna give you your bang for your buck and give you the most help possible than the crossbow shot's Hunger, because it gives your crossbow shot piercing damage and gives you a chance to pierce through the enemies and strike additional enemies behind. So that's why it's good. And if you can awaken if you want to awaken the armor piece, the legendary item, then crossbow shot damage will increase by 10%, which is amazing. Amazing for your damage dealing. So those are the legendary items. In my opinion, which are the best of the best when it comes to open world farming. You know, Boundless Ingenuity for your helm. Chest plate's gonna be Heart of Vengeance. Shoulders is gonna be Hellfire. Cough's Unrelenting Fury for your leggings, or your pants, I should say. And Ember Mist for your main hand weapon. Hungerer for your offhand weapon. Set items are going to be 4 Vithus urges, and 2 War Rags of Shalbas. That doesn't change for open world farming. It doesn't change for PvP or Challenge Rift. 4 Vithus Urges, 2 War Rags of Shalbas is what you're going for if you're a Demon Hunter. Alright, but that's those are going to be the set and legendary items. These are the skills. You're going to want to get we're using the smokescreen build because of the 4 Vithus Urges and 2 War Rags of Shalbas. This is why we're running smokescreen, which is I believe in my opinion the best build in the game overall, PvP and PvE. People might argue, but I believe this is the best of the best. So, in my opinion, let's start with the skills. Your primary attack skill, you're gonna want to go with crossbow shot. Crossbow shot, you shoot an arrow for 5.2 to 7.3k damage while moving at reduced speed. With the equipped legendary, crossbow shot will now pierce through enemies and strike additional enemies behind. And if you awaken the hunger offhand weapon, then your crossbow shot damage will increase by 10%. Okay, crossbow shot will give you an ultimate, which is called volley. Volley will enhance the crossbow shot for 12 seconds, increasing its damage per hit to 6.9 to 8.5k damage, launching volleys of arrows and increasing your movement speed. So great ultimate ability to have. Explosive arrow is out of the question when it comes to open world farming, I believe, because sure, it gives you that area of effect damage, because it says here, shoot an arrow that explodes on impact for 6k damage to the target and 1.5k damage, the area of effect damage to all nearby enemies. And its ultimate is called grenades. Enhance explosive arrow for 12 seconds, replacing arrows with explosive grenades, increasing its damage per hit to 6.6k and knocking away enemies. This is good also, but you cannot run and shoot at the same time, which means what I'm doing here, this is crossbow shot. I'm able to run and shoot at the same time, right? Or I should say walk and shoot at the same time. You can't do this with the explosive arrow. See, I'm gonna equip explosive arrow right here. As you can see, I'm trying to run, and even though I'm moving a little bit, I'm stopping. So that's not the ideal thing, because I'm a little bit slower while I'm doing that. Whereas if I hit the crossbow skill, if I equip the crossbow skill, I'm able to continuously move. That way I'm not a standing target. So it's up to you. You can go with either or, but if we're talking about speed, for speed purposes and DPS purposes, I believe the crossbow shot is the go-to primary skill. Primary attack, I should say. Now let's go for the skills. Daring Swing. Daring Swing is a dash. You use a rope to swing to a nearby location, dealing 7k damage to enemies on the way while they cannot attack you. You get a maximum of 2 charges, but because we equipped the Boundless Ingenuity Helm, we have increased our Daring Swing charges from 2 to 3. So you get 3. So because I have my Daring Swing on, not my Daring Swing on, because I have my Boundless Ingenuity helmet on, I'm able to do this 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. You see, those are, you see how fast I got from one place to the other doing that? Great for escapes, great for pushing all in. You're going to want to have the most mobility possible in open world farming. But I do understand why some people would pick other helms, which we'll get to right now after this. Okay, so after your Daring Swing skill, let's go with the next skill. Next skill is going to be the multi-shot. Multi-shot. It's there to deal damage. It's a skill that deals damage. You fire a salvo of arrows, dealing 5.9k damage, dealing damage to all enemies in a direction. Maximum 3 charges. Because I equipped the Hellfire shoulders, multi-shot also launches 2 homing rockets, each dealing almost 1.3k damage. So what does that mean? That means when I shoot multi-shot, you see there's 2 additional rockets that shoot out also. There goes those 2 rockets right there. And that's perfect for dealing more DPS damage to monsters. So it's cool to have those extra 2 rockets shoot out also on top of your multi-shots. So that's why I'm running the Hellfire shoulders for that multi-shot to deal more damage with multi-shot. So that's what it is there. Next one's gonna be Smokescreen. Smokescreen is a buff. It says here, create a cloud of thick smoke at your location, concealing you and nearby allied players for 2.5 seconds. Concealed targets may not be attacked. Each ally will lose concealment when they attack. And because I equipped the Ember Mist main hand weapon, Smokescreen cooldown is decreased by 15%. So this is Smokescreen. I have a reduced cooldown because of the Ember Mist, and this is perfect for open world farming because that way the monsters will stop attacking you. You'll be invisible. You'll be invisible to reset, and to escape and reset your attacks. So very good skill to have. But only because we have the 4 Vithus Urges and the 2 War Rags of Shalbas. If you don't have the 4 Vithus Urges, do not use the Smokescreen build. This is more towards end game once you're able to get all the set items. Last but not least, we're going to be using the skill Vengeance. What is Vengeance? Vengeance is another buff, just like Smokescreen. Its active is it transforms into a physical. You transform into the physical embodiment of Vengeance for 6 seconds, causing every primary attack to launch 2 additional shots for 1.3k damage each. Its passive, you gain 3% increased movement speed for each nearby enemy, stacking up to 10 times. Because I have the Koff's Unrelenting Fury pants on, during Vengeance, every 2 primary attacks will cause you to launch 1 additional rocket that deal 1.6k damage to a nearby target. So, I activate Vengeance, and if you can see, 2 rockets are coming out. Or I should say 1 rocket for each 2 shots. But because it goes so fast, it looks like I'm shooting 2 rockets at a time, but it's actually 1 rocket at a time for every 2 shots, for every 2 primary attacks. So it's definitely the #1 choice for pants in your build for open world farming. I don't believe there's another pair of pants that come even close to dealing that much DPS compared to Koff's Unrelenting Fury. So Koff's Unrelenting Fury is definitely the go-to first choice for all demon hunters when it comes to open world farming. Alright, so those are the skills, right? You have Vengeance, you have Smokescreen, you have Multi-Shot, and you have your 3 Daring Swings. So now we're going to test out the build here on as far as the combo and how you actually use it. We're not going to test it out in open world farming, but we're definitely gonna. I'm gonna show you how to what order you're supposed to use the skills in. Okay, so first you're gonna. Well, it depends. If the enemy's right in front of you, you can start the attack right now. So this is the attack right here. You start off first step Vengeance, and you start attacking with Vengeance. As soon as, and that procs your Vithus Urges, right? For that 30% attack speed. indicated by the smoking swirling tornado that's underneath you. As you can see again, see right there, that's the Vithu's urges. So once you have that, you can start attacking. Now once Vithu's urges stops in with your vengeance, you switch it to smoke screen. That way you get 3 more seconds of increased attack speed by 30%. So in real time, this is how it's gonna pretty much be the attack. So those are your Vithu's urges, 2 skills buffs that increase your attack speed by 30%. So if you combo it all together with the multi-shot, it's going to look a little bit something like this. So first step, Vengeance. Second step, Smoke Screen. Third step, multi-shot. And Daring Swing could be the first or last step depending on whether the enemy's close to you. If the enemy's close to you, you want to use Daring Swing last. If the enemy is far away from you and you need to close in the distance, then use the Daring Swing first. And that's a basic rundown of the skills of my build here for the Vithu's Urges Smoke Screen War Rags of Shalbass build. So that's it for that. So that's the build. Again, the build is 4 Vithu's Urges, 2 War Rags of Shalbass. Then you got Boundless Ingenuity, Heart of Vengeance, Hellfire, Cough's Unrelenting Fury, Ember Mist, and the Hungerer. Okay, so I believe this is the best, right? End game. Once you have all your set items, once you have all your legendary gear pieces, this is what you want to build for the fastest DPS possible, in my opinion. Now, how about if you don't have all these items, right? Let's say you still need some more legendary gear items, right? Let's say you're missing a couple legendary items that you still got to farm. Let's say you don't have any more of those set items. Let's say you still don't have any of those set items still needed to complete the 4-piece Vithu's and 2-piece War Rags. So what do you do next? So your next option, you have some options here. I'm headed over to the Essence Transfer, and I will recommend some other builds in the meantime that work great as well for open world farming. Alright, so I'm here at the Essence Transfer, Zamina. So besides Boundless Ingenuity, you could use for open world farming, you could use Vision of the Lost. Vision of the Lost is a great helm for open world farming, because what does Vision of the Lost do? Vision of the Lost, during Vengeance, each defeated enemy increases the remaining duration of Vengeance by 0.2 seconds up to a maximum increase of 2.4 seconds, which means if you equip Vision of the Lost, Vengeance you have an extra 2.4 seconds on your Vengeance as long as you keep killing enemies one after the other. So it gives you extra Vengeance time. A lot of people would use this for their open world farming builds. Go-to choice for DPS. Anything else I wouldn't recommend. For DPS, no. You're either gonna use the Boundless Ingenuity to maximize your movement everywhere, or Vision of the Lost if you want to increase your Vengeance time, your Vengeance buff time. So those are the recommended helms. It's pretty much only down to 2. Alright, for your chest plate, same thing. You're going to want to have your Heart of Vengeance. I don't recommend any other chest plate, but if you don't have Heart of Vengeance, what else could you use? I would recommend probably the Shadow Flight breastplate. if you're gonna be running the Rain of Vengeance build, if you don't have the Heart of Vengeance, then Shadowflight Breastplate would be the great second option if you can get that, because Shadowflight Breastplate will increase the Rain of Vengeance duration by 30%. So you would equip, let's try that here for example. Let's equip Shadowflight Breastplate. Let's equip Rain of Vengeance. Alright, so Rain of Vengeance. Now that we have Shadowflight Breastplate equipped. Yep, we have it equipped. That's Rain of Vengeance right there. That is a 30% increased Rain of Vengeance than without having the Shadowflight Breastplate. So if you don't have the Heart of Vengeance chestplate, then you want to go with the Shadowflight Breastplate chest piece, right? Now, if you're running the Rain of Vengeance build, you're gonna want to change your shoulders from Hellfire to, where's it at here? Hellstone, because Hellstone shoulders makes Rain of Vengeance empowered with Frost, damaging and chilling enemies. So this gives you that CC effect against the monsters, especially if they're like when you have a bunch of packs of them. You hit the Rain of Vengeance on them, and that'll slow them down, giving you more time either to deal damage to them or escaping. So that's what it is there. This is what it looks like. It's gonna go from red to blue. So now it's blue. Those are the icicles just raining shit down on all the enemies, slowing them down. So that's the Rain of Vengeance right there. Rain of Vengeance with the Hellstone shoulders. So next after that, what could be next? Koff's Unrelenting Fury is the #1 go-to choice for pants for open world farming. Is there anything else you could use? Of course, you could. If you don't have Koffs, you could use. You could also use Ruinous Path. Ruinous Path increases all damage you deal by 6% during Vengeance. So it's not going to give you that extra DPS, but with that increased damage you're dealing, you'll be able to kill the monsters quicker. So that helps out also. And that's it for those for the pants. Either Ruinous Path, but definitely Koff's Unrelenting Fury for the most DPS, most damage per second. Okay, and now for your Ember Mist, not for your Ember Mist, for your main hand, you're gonna want to go with this is all situational, but it's mostly regarded in the Demon Hunter community that it's either going to be Breath of Winter for your multi-shot to shoot frost arrows that damage and chill enemies for that CC effect to chill the enemies, to chill the monsters and slow them down. But if you don't want to slow them down, and if you just want to do more damage and give them that burn effect, then you want to go with the Flame Spite. Flame Spite. What is Flame Spite? Multi-shot now fires flaming arrows that damage and burn enemies. So those are pretty much the two most used main hand weapons for open world farming: Breath of Winter and Flame Spite. And now offhand, there's nothing else to it. It's the Hunger. The Hunger is the king of the offhand weapons for all Demon Hunter classes. I don't believe there's not going to be a single Demon Hunter that will tell you different. But for some reason you don't have the Hunger, what could be your second option? Well, let's try and find this out. See, I'm not seeing any of these that could help. Unless you use Explosive Arrow, then you can probably use Hellbinder. But that'll make you a little bit slower with the Explosive Arrow. And nobody really used Bloody Chains. You could be running a Strafe build. You know, there are options for Strafe. That could help, I believe, as a third option maybe. You could use Disarray. Maybe Black Talon. but definitely the go-to ones, the only one you should be focusing on getting is the hunger for that crossbow shot piercing effect. Okay, so those are the other types of builds options that you can go for while you're working towards your smoke screen 4-piece Vitus 2-piece Shao Bass set and your legendary gear farming. Once you have all that, then you can switch to the smoke screen build, and you will be able to be dealing an insane amount of DPS to all monsters in the open world. So great for farming all these builds, and it's up to y'all to just start practicing with it and see what works for you. Alright, so now we're back here in Celine's or Salon's, I think Celine's Basilica. Before I go, I just want to say, be patient, especially if you're new players. You know, when it comes to being a new player, you know, we've all been there. The main thing is about enjoying the game. You know, you're gonna learn more and more about the game if you play every day, right? In the beginning, you're not gonna learn what all the legendary items do. You're not gonna know what all the set items do, right? That takes time to read and learn, and it's a process. You know, my advice I can give to you is just my advice I can give to you guys is just take your time, enjoy the process, enjoy the game. If you want to keep learning and advance your understanding of the game, understanding the builds and the skills and all that, and the legendary items and legendary gems and all that, because there's so much to cover in this game. Definitely look at, you know, go on YouTube and check guides that are more in depth than mine. I'm not going to be running guides for all the builds or for all the different things that you can do in this game. I'm just running down. I wouldn't be able to just like that. I would have to actually study. Like, I know the general idea of the game, and I know enough to do what I'm doing right now. But for in-depth guides and all that stuff, for different builds and all that, and learning about the game more, there's definitely a lot of other guides out there on those specific things. But hopefully my basic guides with regarding PvP and PvE open world farming will give you a general idea of what you can use to aid you in your gaming experience and in progressing your character. Alright, so that's it for the open world farming PvE build recommendations guide that I think are the best as far as dealing the most DPS, dealing the most damage per second. Let me know what you guys think on all that, and maybe you agree, maybe you don't agree, maybe you disagree, and we'll keep going. My next guide I'm gonna have is on legendary gems, and I will cover that soon. Alright, but this is it. This is it for my open world farming builds. Hope you enjoyed it. It's your boy SurgicalSnipes, and I'll see you in the next one.